Good morning. Happy Friday. We have to pack. I've done some of it. Here's the issue. I'm going back home to the Philadelphia area this weekend. My friend is the theater program director at a school that is near my parents' house, and her show opens tonight at the school, Mary Poppins Jr. So we're gonna go see it. And then tomorrow we're going down to Wildwood, and we're gonna be at my cousin's house, and we're basically my nan, my grandmother. She used to make all these amazing Christmas cookies, and she passed years and years ago, but we've always meant to have a cookie making night, and we're gonna host it at my cousin's house. So then I'll be back on Sunday. So you're coming with me. Let's pack. Okay, here's the dilemma. Originally I was like, okay, I'm gonna pack all my clothes in my suitcase and then I'll carry these gifts because I do have a gift for my cousin's daughter. I want to bring home my parents' stuff. I already told my sister when I see her in January she's getting hers because they're too big to carry. But honestly, I think that puffer coat, this, and then carrying this guy on the subway will be a sensory nightmare. So here's what I'm thinking instead. Because I don't have that much stuff in terms of clothes and things. Hey, shoot! Ow! Oh. Is that a sign of being old when you yawn and then you sneeze at the same time and then you hurt your back? Okay, I'm thinking I'm gonna put all of my stuff, stuff that would go in the suitcase, in here. So this is on my back, hands-free, and then all of the presents in the suitcase. So then when I come home, everything can just go in the suitcase. I just think logistically that makes more sense because at least going up and down the subway stairs, I need two hands, and I won't have two hands with that. So let's do it. All right, I feel much better about that plan. Let's watch the video of the day.
You cannot get in marathon shape in 6 weeks if you don't run and you've never run a marathon. It is impossible. It is impossible. I watch a creator local to Austin. His name is Amir Lancaster. He announced that he's running the New York Marathon with the Endorphins app and New Balance. How are you getting in marathon shape with the Endorphins app in 6 weeks? You struggle to do a 5-mile workout at good pain. You struggle to do a workout. What do you mean? This is getting out of control. This influencer marathon pipeline thing is getting out of control. You are not a runner. You are not a runner. What are you doing? You're literally gonna get injured. Probably 70-80% sure you will get injured because there's no way you can do that much volume of training. Some marathon preps take 300 to 500 miles to prepare for, mind you. For my New York Marathon, I'm doing an 18-week prep. I started running at the end of June. End of June. It is September. I still have 2 20-mile runs to do before I get to the start line. Advanced prep. My highest mileage week is 55 miles. Do you think this man is gonna be able to run 55 miles in a week? No. This is getting out of control. And I commented on his reel because I'm like, this is irresponsible. You are not only running and using a training plan and advertising a training plan, you are also influencing people, because that's essentially what you are as an influencer. You are influencing people to do something similar, which is very, 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 very detrimental. That is not positive influence. Yes, getting people to be active, be an athlete, stay healthy is a great thing to promote, but to promote it unsafely is very, very, very irresponsible. Maybe it's a hot take. Maybe it's not. I run 3 marathons this year. I know that's crazy. People are like, what the heck? I also know my body. And I've done a preparation. Austin Marathon, I literally ran for nearly a year straight to run the marathon. San Diego was party pace. I walked for an hour during San Diego Marathon because my heart rate could not come down. I was not trying to race. I said, if my heart rate does not come down, I will DNF. I'm not going to have a heart attack. People don't understand that. They don't understand that. Look at Berlin. People are like, no, I'm out of shape. But for you to try to get into marathon shape in 6 weeks, that is actually absurd. And to post about it and be like, you should train with the Endorphins app. I think Endorphins is great. I think these apps are great, but I think it's getting out of control.
Okay, so we're talking about this a lot sooner than I thought. I had mentioned in yesterday's video, I have a whole video planned in 2026 talking about the influencer to marathoner pipeline, and I guess you get a sneak peek today on my thoughts. First of all, I do love this take. I want to start backwards because one of the last things she does say is, I think this app is great. Maybe this is my hot take. I don't. Endorphins might be a great app in terms of utilizing it, and I'm sure they have a great mission, but I don't agree with the way that they're going about promoting their brand. Recruiting influencers who are not runners are not marathoners to then utilize the app and promote it to help get other people who probably also don't run enough to actually run a marathon and then potentially get injured. I don't think that's a great app. I would compare it, it's similar to how I feel about Ladder, right? I think there's a lot of incredible coaches on there. I think the tech is fantastic, but I absolutely hate the way that they market because it's predatory and misleading, and it goes against a lot of what I believe ethically and morally in the fitness industry. So to me, no, Ladder's not a great app. It's a good app with shitty ethics. Anyway, let's dive into what this video is actually about. The influencer to marathoner pipeline this year has been strong. I'm sure you have seen, myself included, not marathoner, but myself included, everyone has been picking up running. In New York City, I am part of the problem, I guess, but in New York City, it is like nearly impossible to even get into a New York Roadrunners race. That's like the main racing organization in the city. It's the one that runs the New York City Marathon. But I literally the other day just saw a New York City influencer who posted a video that was sponsored by Endorphins where she ran the New York City Marathon with just 8 weeks of training. Previously in the video, she said maybe she could run 5 miles if she had to. And she did also disclaim that she ran track in high school, but it was not cross country. It was not endurance training or endurance running. It was sprinting. She was a sprinter. Those are two incredibly different things. To keep it simple, sprinting is a lot more power and anaerobic based. Long distance running, like 26.2 miles, that's more endurance and aerobic based. And it's two very different energy systems in your body. It's two very different muscle recruitments. There's a lot of differences and even just how you would train for the two. So anyway, in case you know who I'm talking about, I just want to put a little more info in there. But this shit is irresponsible. It's going to get people either mildly injured or seriously hurt. Here in New York City, we have had people die during races this year. Quite literally die, either from a heart attack or rhabdo. We just need to remember that running a marathon is not normal. That is an extreme physical feat that requires a lot of training to do, not even to do safely, to increase your chances of doing safely. We talked a lot about tissue tolerance yesterday, but just to give you like an example of how I've built up, I am running the New York City half in March, but just to explain like how I have built up my mileage, because in the back of my brain, I always wanted to run the New York City half since I started this. I just like wasn't sure if I wanted to have some checkpoints along the way, make sure that mentally and physically I could handle it. But in January this year, I started an 8-week training block for a 5K. Then in April, I started an 8-week training block for a 10K. In June, I started an 8-week training block for a 10 miler, and that was fast. That was a quick ramp up. The race did not go well. You can watch that video if you want to. In October, I then pulled back mileage and I did another 8-week training block for a 5K. And then starting in December, I'm in a 15-week training block for a half miler. 15 weeks to go from my max distance being 10 miles to adding just 3 on top of it. Granted, I wanted a lot more time because the 10 miler did not feel great physically and mentally, mostly mentally, but it was very tough physically as well. So then there's one other point that I want to touch on, which has been, especially in New York, kind of this like point of contention, or not even just in New York. I've seen it on a lot of like the world majors, influencer bibs. I'm not gonna lie, I'm torn here because here's the thing. Like if, I don't know, let's just say the New York City half. If there was a brand with bibs and they reached out to me and they were like, hey, we want you to run sponsored by us, here's a bib. I can't say that I wouldn't take it. I'd have to believe in the brand, obviously, but I also have been putting in a lot of miles and money into those miles. Like I've paid for every race that I've run. I've also done 2 charity raises now. I raised money for the Bronx 10 mile for Team for Kids right now. I'll leave a link below. I am raising money for Girls on the Run, which is a Brooklyn-based organization that essentially does running and strength programming for young girls. So it teaches girls how to work together, move their bodies, and love their bodies. I think the point of contention actually comes here, though, is that there's always going to be charities that sponsor races, and influencers have a big enough following that they could probably just like raise the money. And then that would free up some bibs for other people. But I don't know, because then like those brands, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's a nuanced conversation. But I think it's just something to think about, especially as running has become so much more competitive just in terms of like getting into races. So anyway, those are my thoughts there. But this video I do love. We're going to put at the top in a sleigh. Again, if you are looking to make a tax deductible donation by the end of the year, my fundraiser is linked down below. And if you want to see the full video on this expanded topic, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it in 2026. Here's the plan. Oh God. Okay. I have 27 minutes until the start of my day. What does the day look like? From 8 to 10, I have my Fit Club Fridays. These are the 15-minute one-on-one calls that I offer most Fridays in the Fit Club, which is my online membership platform where we basically can do anything. We can talk about goals, we can check form, we can chat nutrition. So I've got a number of those. Then I have a virtual client, a virtual consult with a remote training client. This is testing my brain power. I have an in-person client. Then I am immediately running back here, getting changed. Look, I laid out my clothes. They're right on my piano over there. Immediately getting changed and then going to Penn Station. I'm actually not going to lie to you. I did not sleep super great because I am very anxious about how quick today is going. And I get a lot of like travel anxiety in terms of being late. I'm chronically early because of it. But literally once my day starts in 30 minutes, I have like 5 to 10 minute breaks in between everything. So I need to make sure I eat. I need to make sure I am like completely set up. When I come back here and throw on jeans and a sweater, I can just grab this shit and run. So that's the plan. We should probably get out of our PJs. Kevin yelled at me last time I kept a burp in, but I'm doing it anyway. Feminism. Okay, let's go.
It's the end of the year. Everywhere on TV, couples and Christmas trees, gift wrapping and cheer. Just the worst time to be without someone special. In all the movies there, kissing in the snow, holding hands and mittens, baking together at home. I like the movies when I'm walking in the snow, cold hands and mittens, eating gingerbread home alone. I dream of December nights, kissing under bright lights, snowflakes in my hair, carols playing in the air. I dream of December nights, kissing under bright lights, right